Hey there guys, welcome back, Ricky here. Alright, so I've just finished sharpening my knives on my Shapton Pro 5000 and the Chaucera 3000. Okay, so as you guys can see, these are both splash and goes. I didn't really soak them at all. I soaked them for about 15 seconds, 30 seconds while I was setting up my camera and my knives. But, these are both really true splash and goes, which is nice. And they don't really load up at all, okay? So I'm going to talk about some of the similarities and then obviously the differences between them. But let's start here on my left on the Shapton Pro. So again, I really like the Shapton Pros because they are slim, they're very hard, they're very dense stones, and they don't load up, okay? Those are all pros for Shapton Pros. This stone here was a bit of a surprise to me because I thought that it felt very sluggish, very extremely dampened, very unexciting to sharpen on. And that was something that I thought was just me because I've been sharpening on all these great sharpening stones these last few weeks. And then to hop on a 5,000 grit stone, I thought maybe that's probably just my muscles not being used to it. But after, flipping the stone, switching sides and going back and forth on it for a while, and then hopping on the Chaucera, I realized it wasn't me, it was actually the stone that felt dead. And truly, this stone, even though it gave a really nice polish, the polish on this knife is extremely, it's beautiful. It's very close to a mirror polish. And is, it's actually a very fine edge. It's actually, I haven't done a cut test, but it's a very fine edge. I can definitely feel it. But aside from that, the stone was very boring to sharpen on. I hate to use that word for a stone, but it truly was a boring stone. And that's really all I can say about it. It was just very, very dampened. The feedback was very numb. I hardly knew what the knife was doing. It just felt like the stone felt really soft. Okay, and even though I know the stone isn't soft, I know it's a very hard stone. And Shaptons always make very hard stones, but it just felt very soft and very dead. And I hate to be that guy to report that to you Shapton Pro lovers or those who are looking to buy a set of Shapton Pros. I'm not a fan of them. They're just not very good stones, and there are much better stones out there for your money at this point. And I'm not going to tell you which ones they are yet, but we'll get there. I was hoping that this stone would actually be a really good performer. I've read a lot of good things about this stone on the forums. Those who actually have sharpened or own a set of Shapton Pros, they rave about them, and so that's why I was very curious, and that's why I bought a set. But after using the 1000, which was a disappointment because it really wasn't a 1000 grit stone, I can really work with that because then, even though it's not a 1000 grit stone, you still have a good polishing stone that you can polish on, and as long as the knife gets sharp on the 1000 grit stone, that's really what I cared about. And it had decent performance. It was a good cutter. Feedback was all right. It was a little aggressive. It just wasn't the greatest sharpening stone, and I was hoping that this stone would be better. But it is, as a stone, the sharpening stone 1000 Pro is actually a better stone than this is a polishing stone. Does that make any sense? So if I had to choose, I would be actually okay owning a set or owning the 1000 grit sharpening stone. I would not be okay with really owning this long term as a polishing stone. Okay, I hate to be that guy, but that's just what I've reported or experienced. Over to the Chaucera. Now this stone never ceases to amaze me. I mean, just the Chaucera line in general has been just such a phenomenal performer. And the 3000 stone, 3000 grit stone, was, man, it felt like I was sharpening on the 800 because it sharpened really fast. Now, if you guys didn't see the original or the first part of this series, I actually polished, I blunted the knives by running them across my brick 20 times, okay? That's actually a pretty dull edge at that point. And this stone The first side gave me a burr in 3 passes and 2 passes on the second side. If you guys aren't aware, the Chaucera 800 had the exact same performance when I sharpened it, when I blunted the knife 20 times. And so it begs the question, do you need an 800 grit stone? Well, you still do, okay? Even you do, okay? But this stone is so good of a stone, if you wanted just one stone and you were to sharpen your knife every single week or every single day, this stone can actually probably do that for you. Now, if you sharpen your knives once a week, you definitely, I don't want to say you definitely, but you definitely want a 1000 grit stone in addition to a polishing stone, which is what this guy is. Tactile feedback is excellent. You know exactly what the stone and your knife is doing. Hand feedback, it is hand feel. It is just such a pleasure to sharpen on or polish on. I keep using those words because I feel like this is a sharpening, even though it's a polishing stone that I'm working on. I polish them the way I sharpen my knives. Okay, just so I can see how fast they actually cut. So when I use the word polish and cut or sharpen, it's the same word. Okay. Now, in terms of scratch pattern, this one here is more closer to, it is a 3000 grit scratch pattern. And the Shapton Pro, this is a 5000 grit pattern. It might even, yeah. It's a very, very fine finish. It's very mirror-like polish, and it gives you a very mirror-like polish. Excuse my language. And so if you guys want a good polishing stone, this will do its job. This one here is really good because now I know that the Chaucera line is a lot closer in grit rating to their actual number and performance. As you guys know, with the Naniwa Superstones, the grit ratings are, at least for the 800 stone, way off the mark. Okay, it's not an 800 grit stone. It's more like a 3000 grit stone. And this has a very similar polish and look to the 3000 Superstone, okay? But it has this performs extremely well. I mean, like I said, I didn't think a polishing stone can feel this aggressive, this positive, okay? And so, yeah, very positive feedback, excellent tactile feel. I love this stone. I hate to be that guy who just kind of is on that bandwagon that says Chaucera is the best out there, but the Chaucera stones have been incredibly good performing, and this is no different from the 800 grit stone, except the burr that you've developed is a little finer, and so just keep in mind you still don't want to have this stone as your only stone. You will need a sharpening stone as well, but it's an excellent stone. Okay, so now for the winner. As you guys know, obviously the Chaucera, hands down, is the better stone. There is no comparison between the Chaucera and the Shapton Pro. Zero. None. You cannot compare them. They are not in the same league. They cannot sit in the same room. There is nothing that the Shapton Pro can do better than the Chaucera, except it gives you a closer mirror-like polish. Which, if you guys want that, go for it. It does give you that 5,000, 6,000 quality polish. The Chaucera, you're looking at a 3000 grit polish, which is, for me, I actually prefer a knife that is not so glossy, not so mirror-like. I don't like mirror-like polishes, or I don't like mirror polishes. Mirror-like and close to it, I think, is a more professional look that I prefer. But I know you guys are probably wondering how well they cut. I'll do a really quick cut test, and you guys can decide for yourself, or yourselves. Alright, so here we go. This is just paper that was sitting by the sharpening area, and as you guys can see, it's completely wet over here, and there's a lot of damp spots here, but I think it should be okay. Okay, you see? So even though it's not a great feeling stone, it does produce a very fine edge. And here's a push cut. Wet spot there. Okay, so that's the redeeming factor of this stone. It produces a very nice edge, and you guys, don't be disappointed if you guys have already bought this stone, or if you guys are looking to get it. Okay, I'm just on a side-by-side comparison. It's just not a great feeling stone relative to the Chaucera. Had I have purchased this stone by itself, and have nothing else to compare it to, I think it would still be a very good stone. Okay, so don't hate me for knocking the Shapton Pros. Yeah. Again, both these stones, you know, I keep saying I won't do a cut test because I find it pointless at this point. Yeah, I find it pointless because you know that these stones are gonna produce a sharp edge. It's all about how the sharpener uses them. There's a huge wet spot there. So yeah, as you guys can see, it's that's not the question you should be asking. The question you should be asking is, you know, can you afford the stone that you want to buy? Do you like the way it feels? Do you like the way the finish looks? And that's really what you're looking at. So in terms of speed, the Chaucera wins. So three passes on one side, 2 passes on the other, 4 passes on the first side, 3 passes on the second. Tactile feedback, hands down, the Chaucera is a better stone. You know exactly what the stone is doing. The knife, the stone, there is no question as to what the stone is actually doing for your knife. The Shapton Pro, it was very damp, very dead feeling, very unresponsive, and boring is the word that it's the only word that I can think of when I talk about tactile feel. Hand feel, again, you cannot beat the way these stones feel. They feel excellent. You don't want to stop sharpening your knife. It's just such a good feeling stone. This guy here, again, very dead, very unresponsive. I'm sorry I have so many negative things to say about this stone, but the positive is it gives you a very clean edge, and it gives you a very nice polish. And it's a very thin, easy to transport stone. It does have a little bit of loading up. It does load up a little bit more than the Chaucera. Okay, just a little bit more. So not a big deal there. That's not really a deal killer in most cases. At least not for me, unless you're loading up a lot. Okay, so very minimal load up, and this is very acceptable by any standard. But the Chaucera, 0 load up. I simply wiped them both down with the rag afterwards, and this is the result that I've got. And again, 3,000 grit polish, 5,000 grit polish. They're very consistent in terms of what their polish rating is, so that's a good thing there. So there it is. That's round 1 of the best polishing whetstone, and it is the Chaucera is the winner. The next round will be, I don't know exactly what yet, probably the Rika 5000 versus the King 6000, or the Masamoto 6000 versus the Superstone 3000. I'll figure that out depending on how I feel, and if I have time to actually soak the stones before I use it, or before I use them. So, alright, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's going to be a very fun series, and you know, hopefully you guys catch all the episodes, and I look forward to catching you guys next time. Okay guys, this is the knife that was sharpened by the Chaucera 3000. And as you can see, the edge is a very nice, close to mirror, but very nice satin-like finish. I think this has a, you know, in my opinion, this is a more sharper looking or professional looking knife. But it doesn't matter what I think. This is going to be your knife or your sharpening stone. And this is what the Chaucera would give you. So as you can see, it's not mirror polish, but it does have a very nice sheen to it. It produces a very clean edge, a very sharp edge. And I think the satin look is very beautiful. Okay, and now for the Shapton Pro 5000. So here is the edge that you will get. As you can see, it's very close to mirror polish. It's extremely shiny, and it's got this very nice, intense sheen to it. That's because it's very, very close to mirror polish. It's a very nice looking edge. Here's the left side. Let's go from here. So as you can see, very nice shine all across the blade. Very consistent. And you can see how well this is a reflection of the window, but you can almost make out the frame of the window. And there is the Shapton 5000. Hopefully you're happy with that. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.